Well, good afternoon, folks. How is everybody today? Please give me a shout out if you can hear me okay in chat. We're using a different microphone today. Oh yeah, things look a little bit different on my OBS. I don't know. I don't remember too much of last night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream last night. Yeah, I mean it's pretty blurry. I guess on the bonus I got a bunch of stuff painted that I don't really remember doing. So good afternoon, Ben, Martin, Inner, Daniel, Andrew, Highland. A lot of people here. So good afternoon, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed today's video at any point during the video, there is a like button. It means a lot when you smash the like button. Helps me out severely with the YouTube algorithm. So please hit like if you enjoy the stream. I mean, you can hit dislike if you don't enjoy it. I mean, that's fair as well. Either or, you know, just a like or a dislike is nice. Good afternoon to Hit to Wound. Good afternoon, Doctor. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Hey, Mark, thank you. So, yeah, as always on this show, we're going to get into some army lists in a minute. Do you know what? Just before we do that, I was actually checking out the new Sigmar box. It looks kind of nice. You seem to get a lot of stuff in this new Age of Sigmar box, and I usually give the new releases like a little look. And I was on Element Games, and the reason I was on Element Games is somebody bought some of these new releases using a referral code for the Blood Angels Commander just this morning. So like, that's awesome. You know, if you want to buy models using the referral code, that's super awesome. But I managed to get, here it was. So I was looking at this. Are these new paint colors that I haven't seen before then? Hobgrot Hide, which looks like a masky yellow. Auroch Flesh. I mean, that looks more like a teal to me. And then Thorondia Brown. Maybe these paints have been around for a while. I mean, it's because they've got a release date on them. I guess these are new paints. Does anyone know? I haven't seen these ones before. I wonder if the brown seems like an interesting reddy brown. Maybe that could be useful for us. I'm not sure the other two could be much use. Maybe you could do some highlighting of yellow helmets with this sort of like, you know, more gnarly yellow. But this brown, reddy brown, I guess they should really just call it base red brown or reddy brown. Yeah. Some new paints. All right, cool. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the new Sigmar box. You know what is sad about this though is like the amount of models in this Age of Sigmar box that could be like Blood Angels. And I mean, I guess that's why that's maybe why somebody bought it. Because like all these Stormcast, you know, especially the one there was one with giant wings, right? All these Stormcast with giant wings like this, like why do Blood Angels not have some characters like this with these nice giant wings? I can foresee conversion opportunities out of some of these guys for sure. Stormcast have been good for conversions for a while, but good morning from the States. Hello, tabletop chat. Good morning. So we're looking at 5 army lists today, and we have the lists here. 1 second, let me pull it up. We're looking at a list from Adam Graham, Benjamin Reynolds, and Steel Rain. These are 3 lists from members, and then we've got 2 from non-members, Paul C. and Sonorin. And next week we've got Camille, Kevin as members, and then Diochi, James, and Muhammad as non-members. So the list queue at the moment is like 5 or 6 weeks for non-members, I think, and about 3 weeks for members. So it's just, you know, we always get plenty of lists to go through. So that's going to be where we start today. Obviously, these lists we'll be looking through. We'll be mentioning if some of these might have been submitted before the changes from chapter approved, so some of the points might not be 100% right, but it doesn't matter. We'll make suggestions on how to. So I admitted that quite a while ago, says Benjamin. I mean, yeah, probably 2 or 3 weeks, I guess. If you have an updated one, Benjamin, that you want to submit while I go through Adam's first, you could do that as well. I mean, you could DM me it on the Discord, or you could just put it into another YouTube comment and we could get it that way. And finally, I just want to thank everyone that's watched the videos this week. This week has been possibly like a really good week for the channel. We've had like a really good amount of growth. So yeah, everyone that watched this week's video, thank you for that, and thank you for all the new members and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, let me know what you want to do in chat, Benjamin. I always like it when the people are here in chat anyway when we go over our lists, because it lets us figure out exactly what we're talking about. Okay. Cool. And as always, if there's any questions about Blood Angels lists, units, video suggestions, you can drop them into the chat as well, and we'll we'll take them on board and do a video or look at them in the near future. And yeah, someone asked, am I hungover today? Yeah, I'm suffering today a little bit. Hopefully it won't be a big deal. But yeah, no, this morning I was suffering pretty bad. I'm fine now, though. Okay, so list by Adam, and this is a double patrol list. So I guess double patrol means he just needs 2 troop choices, and he has 4 HQs. He only has 4 elite slots. So, okay. You won't be able to post it here, but if you've got Discord, Maverick, and you could DM it to me on Discord in the next 20 minutes, and I can update it. I don't think you can put a comment on this on the stream while it's live. All right, so we're looking at Commander Dante, and we all know what Commander Dante brings. We've talked a lot about Dante in the last few weeks, haven't we? I wish that you could change his Warlord trait, honestly. I think that would... Just being able to change his Warlord trait may actually make him, a lot more interesting. But yeah... 165 points for Dante. So he went down 10 points. I don't think it was enough. I would have liked to see him go down maybe even another 15, 150 points maybe is probably where I think Dante sits right now. So 165 is better than he was. A can of Iron Brew and we'll be fine. Yeah, I actually have some Iron Brew in the other room. We then have a Jump Chief Librarian who has the Tomb of Malkador, Veil of Time, Null Zone, Psychic Fortress, and Might of Heroes. So, pretty crazy to take these 4 psychic powers. I mean, I guess it offers you a lot of options, but it might be nice to have psychic mastery. If you've got 4 psychic powers like that, you're obviously putting quite a lot of paying the points to make him Chief Librarian. I feel like you maybe want to make him psychic mastery. How many CP does this list start with? The double patrol is going to cost 10, and he's going to get +1 from Dante. He's going to get -1 from this relic. He then has a Librarian Dreadnought, Meltagun, Iron Resolve, and Gift of Foresight, and that is the Warlord. I was going to say, can you do that? Can you include Dante and not make him your Warlord? Okay, well, yeah, I guess if you can, but you don't get the +1, alright. So, Gift of Foresight and Iron Resolve on the Librarian Dreadnought. A Jump Chief Sanguinary Priest, who is a Selfless Healer and Armor Indomitus. So, Selfless Healer, Armor Indomitus, that's another -2. What would you want to change it to? Heroic Bearing is the best one for a tactical force multiplier. I think it needs to be Gift of Foresight. I actually think Heroic Bearing is kind of weak. Heroic Bearing gives +1 to your leadership, right? In a 9-inch bubble. How many leadership tests do you fail a game? Mark. I literally fail 1 leadership test every, let's say, 3 games on average. Because I take Oath of Moment, and pretty much every game, and I would say it's probably 1 in 3, 1 in 4 games you fail a leadership test as Space Marines. So half of his aura is just kind of worthless. It's a very, very small chance that you don't fail your leadership test that you already weren't going to fail. And getting 3 more inches to his reroll bubble, I mean, I think just wise positioning. He's got a jump pack. It's not hard to put him in the right position. I don't know. I don't really have any problems with the 6 inches I get from the Chapter Master rerolls. I think, it's still a 12-inch bubble, right, with him in the middle of it. I think just good positioning is fine. I don't know. You guys know that I'm not a big fan of Dante. I think he's still too expensive in points. I think he doesn't survive. And you know, he doesn't have a 3 damage weapon either, so he's weak against like Death Guard, and obviously I play Death Guard quite a bit. So, yeah, I don't really rate Heroic Bearing. I can't imagine a situation where I ever pick Heroic Bearing on any of my other characters. Like I just don't see the value in it. I think Gift of Foresight is arguably one of the strongest Warlord traits that I've seen in 9th edition. And if Dante had that, then I think, does that make me pick him? Maybe still not, but does it make him a hell of a lot more attractive? Yes, I think is the answer. But yeah, I mean, the reroll ones is good, but I don't think the extra 3 inches on that makes a huge difference over a regular captain. And I think I'd rather have something that gives my captain more, Gift of Foresight. He's more survivable. He'll do more damage reliably. And I want to say that one of the biggest values of Gift of Foresight is, hey Mike, yeah, I'm fine now. Happy Father's Day, guys. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the guys in here that have kids as well. Thanks for that. The amount of times that you fail to hit or wound with an Infernal Pistol is pretty crazy. You usually hit or wound on 2s or 3s, and you usually fail. Like when push comes to shove, the amount of times you fail on that Infernal Pistol is crazy. And having Gift of Foresight and just re-rolling those fails gives your Infernal Pistol so much more reliability. And in close range, it can, it's just phenomenal. So yeah, I have big problems with Heroic Bearing. Alright, we have Vanguard Veterans, we have 7 man, we have 6 Lightning Claws and a Storm Shield, we have a Relic Blade and Inferno, and that's pretty, that's a pretty solid choice there. We then have a Redemptor Dreadnought, Macro, Gatling, and Rocket Pods. We have the 3 Blade Guards to hold the middle, I assume, and then we have a 5-man Terminator squad, 4 with Chain Fists. Interesting choice on the Chain Fists on the Terminators. Chain Fists are what at the moment, damage-wise? I forget. Are they 2d3? I have to check this. So it'll be Terminators basically with Stormbolters and Chain Fists. And Chain Fists, no, they're D3, but they're a flat 3 against vehicles. That's what it is. Yeah, I guess that's pretty good, right? The -1 to hit with the Chain Fist, obviously, but D3 damage, -4 as well, which is very solid. -5 once we get in the Assault Doctrine. So flat 3 against vehicles, D3 against everything else, and the D3 against targets like your Death Guard, the D3 is actually a lot better than 2 damage, right? Because if you roll a 1 or a 2, it's still 1 damage. If you roll a 3 or a 4, it's still 1 damage. So I guess if you compare the Chain Fist to the Power Fist against Death Guard, for example, you basically have a 33% chance of doing that extra 1 damage when you roll the 5 or the 6. So basically a Chain Fist is better than a Power Fist against Death Guard. I guess in most situations it's going to be better as well, just because it's going to average 2, but maybe it's a little bit more swingy. But if you fight against vehicles, it is better as well. Here in Russia, today is the day of the medical worker. Well, I guess they have to get celebrated as well because of the ongoing COVID. Gift of Foresight saved my bacon against AdMech. Yeah, the thing about Gift of Foresight is the fact that you can still use a command reroll, right? So you can reroll 2 saves on the character for 1 CP. It's pretty darn strong. It's the difference between your character dying and living in a lot of the situations. That's why I like my relics with Stormbolters and Chain Fists. Yeah, I prefer the Chain Fists as it stands right now over the Power Fists. Okay, we then have Incursors, and it's a 5-man squad, and Infiltrators, and it's a 5-man squad. There's not much to say about these guys. They are the core staple of the troop choice. I'm sad that they lost their 4++ in the Cataphractii army as well. What's annoying is the Death Guard got to keep that 4++ on their Cataphracti armor, so go figure. I don't know why. I don't know why Death Guard were special. Okay, so Incursors, Infiltrators, Standard Squads. We then have people bringing Assault Bolters, which is interesting, right? And I guess that's what I was painting last night. So I guess people are going to be trying out the Assault Bolter Inceptors over the next few weeks because, regular Plasma Inceptors have just had their points pushed up again. Points are getting pushed up almost to a point where it's crazy to even field them. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see some Bolter Inceptors on the table, and I'm going to be bringing them tomorrow night against Sisters of Battle. Yeah, I just don't think Dante brings anything. I don't see how he brings much more to the table than a regular captain who's upgraded to Chapter Master. And I mean, I think you can make a jump captain. It's an ongoing argument. I guess I haven't actually checked the poll that I put up on the YouTube site for a few days, but when I checked it last week, a lot of people had voted that they wanted some sort of upgrade to Dante. Let's have a quick look. 827 people voted that Dante needs a major stat increase, and 6% said that they're happy with Dante the way he is. So 827 times 0.06. So 50 people said they're happy with Dante the way he is, and what's that? 0.79. 650 people said that Dante needs a considerable stat increase. So, I guess I'm just off the camp. So it's basically like a 13-to-1 ratio of people that are actually happy with Dante. If they buff Dante, they buff Seth. Yeah, Seth probably needs a bit of a buff as well if they're going to change Dante. But going on the speed that they're releasing Primaris upgrades to characters, I guess we're going to be waiting a while. We then have Eliminators, and we talked a little bit how Eliminators have got a lot better, just because of the points decrease rather. I'm not sure how you synergize them into this list. Maybe they stay around the Redemptor Dreadnought and you use some Wisdom of the Ancient, but I'm not sure. Then we have 3 Eradicators, because Eradicators are still very strong. And then we also have the Whirlwind, the standard sort of Whirlwind loadout. So this is going to start him with 6 CP, I believe. And yeah, I just don't like Gift of Foresight on the Librarian Dreadnought because he gets no invulnerable save. That's my huge big problem with Gift of Foresight on him. The re-rolling the save each turn on a 4++ is crazy good. So not getting that. I guess Gift of Foresight helps because his weapon skill is 3, and I think his ballistic skill is 3 as well. And if he's got a Meltagun, then yeah, Gift of Foresight helps him. I just think you get more value if you put it on a character that can also guarantee a re-roll save, on a 4+. Yeah, so we've got the 4 HQs: Dante, Jump Librarian, Jump Librarian Dreadnought, Jump Sanguinary Priest, 7 Vanguard Vets, Blade Guard to hold the middle, I guess a Redemptor to probably push towards the middle. We have a Terminator squad, we have Incursors, Infiltrators, Inceptors, Eliminators, Eradicators, and Whirlwinds. So yeah, I guess the notable omission from this list is your Sanguinary Guard, and I think I spoke to Adam a little bit, and he said that he's going to drop Sanguinary Guard because he was worried that they're not valuable with a points increase. And I've played them in 3 games since the point increase hit, and I guess my Sanguinary Guard squad went up 16 points because I usually run 8 of them. But they're still very, very good. They still win games. I feel like they still destroy units from full health. They're still super mobile. Their guns aren't bad. I actually missed a trick this week in that I could have actually Auspex scanned Andrew's Retributors when they arrived. with the Sanguinary Guard, which would have probably devastated them. Thanks, Hospex, for subscribing. Appreciate that. So I kind of... I don't dislike this list, but I do feel like Sanguinary Guard are still very, very strong. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason not to take them. I agree, Highland. I still run the 8 that I've been running before. I just had to find the points from elsewhere. And if you've never used Gift of Foresight, you need to try Ares because, well, like I said, like if you fire your Infernal Pistol at close range 4 or 5 times a day, 4 or 5 times a game, not a day. How many times are you going to miss in a battle? Like 1 or 2 times? Well, all of a sudden it's like, well, you just don't miss at all because you can re-roll your hits. And then how many times do you fail the wound on like 2s or 3s because it's strength 8? Well, it happens every game. You fail 1 or 2, and these can be big important fails. Well, you just don't fail them because of the Gift of Foresight. So it's like, I'd say that your Infernal Pistol is almost always going to hit and always going to wound on your character if they have the Gift of Foresight. And, you know, that character's also much more survivable. And yeah, I mean, it's just super strong. That character can go around and basically assassinate characters, survive against things. What's the one? Angel Sacrifice. I think Colin jumped me with like a flesh mower with like 12 attacks, and we angel sacrificed on it and just like absorbed all the attacks. And then next turn we just healed the character up with the Sanguinary Priest and continued around. I mean, it's amazing. Gift of Foresight. Flesh Chairs can't run Blood Angels Warlord traits. Yeah, I mean, I guess that sucks, but yeah, it is very good. I would love to see heavy Death Company lists. I don't have any in my current list, and I'm not sure how to get the best out of them, says Andrew. Death Company are in a weird place right now. They're okay. I mean, they're not bad, but I think Vanguard Veterans just are probably slightly more... They have more utility, and they have a little bit more... probably survivability, and I think survivability is very important right now in the 9th edition. Thoughts on instead of the Eliminators and Eradicators taking 3 Land Speeders with multi-meltas and data link telemetry? Yeah, I mean, that would be about the same amount of points, right? Then I'd probably take the Land Speeders. I'm going to do a comparison video on Land Speeders pretty soon, Highland. I finally like organized what videos I'm making in the future. So I've got like a list of 10 videos, and it's in a spreadsheet, and I've got it broken down week by week. So I have an actual plan for what I'm making in the future. Because before, I was kind of winging it, and just trying to plan it out a bit better and make sure that we're, making good content every week. So I've made this spreadsheet, and Land Speeders is... I think Land Speeders versus ATVs is the comparison that I want to run. And maybe we'll throw some other things in there for the mix as well. But, it's interesting because obviously Land Speeders and ATVs both have one has a couple more wounds, one has one more toughness, one flies, one doesn't, and then, similar sort of output in damage and maybe slightly less points than Land Speeder. I think it would be a good comparison. My Sanguinary Guard made the Admech Plater mad with how much stuff he had to fire that in each round. Yeah, I mean... Oh, player, okay. I still think Sanguinary Guard are very strong. I wouldn't drop them because they got put up 2 points per model. I may even say, like, drop the Eliminators. Do you know what? My Sanguinary Guard costs... My Sanguinary Guard, I know off the top of my head, are 261 points. It's 8 Sanguinary Guard, so that's 8 times 32, and then I run 1 Infernal Pistol in mine. So 32 times 8 is 256. Plus 5, 261. So you could actually drop the Eliminators minus 75 and then drop those Terminators minus 195. So you could actually fit that, right? Yeah, you could fit the Sanguinary Guard in there for the Terminators and the Eliminators. And is that better? I mean, it gives you more potential damage output. I think the Sanguinary Guard are still very strong if you have the Chief Librarian as well for rezzing them. If anything, at 32 points per model, rezzing them is more valuable than it was before. Ever since the points boost attack bikes, have been looking at ATVs and speeders. I mean, yeah, some people have. I'm going to try and run attack bikes this week and see how we get on with them. But I've I have kind of been thinking about running other things as well. So, OBSEC-wise, well, we got 2 OBSEC units, so I think that comes in as a 7.5. Anti-infantry horde, what's he got for firepower? I mean, we've got Stormbolters on the Terminators, we've got a little bit of firepower from the Whirlwind, maybe. The Inceptors are pretty good at clearing out screens. The Redemptor's pretty good at clearing out screens. So I guess against infantry and stuff, that I'm interested to try these 18 heavy bolter or 18 assault bolter shots this week as well. So I think this is quite good. I think it's maybe like an 8.5. Against big monsters and other things, 1 squad of Eradicators, just the 3 multi-meltas and the Macroplasma. I mean, that's fine. It's a little bit of heavy firepower. Vanguard Veterans and Terminators, and then your characters. I'm guessing his anti-vehicle monsters is like a 9. Equinox, thank you for subscribing. I think that maybe not have if we didn't have the Eliminators and we didn't have the Terminators and this was an 8-man Sangre Guard, maybe I'd be tempted to go 9.5 on killing monsters. We do come back to 3 damage weapons in a minute. Let's just work out how much 3 damage stuff he has anyway. So we've got 3 Eradicators. We've got, I guess those Chain Fists could count as 3 damage, so that gives us 7. The Macroplasma, 8, and the Dreadnought's Combat Fist, 9. We've got an Infernal Pistol here, so 10. And then we have our Librarian Dreadnought, who has a couple of 3 damage weapons, I guess, like the Meltagun, so he's got 12, and then Dante has his pistol as well. So about 13 3 damage weapons. It's a tiny bit light, but it's not bad. It's really not bad. Mobility, I guess the Eliminators aren't mobile. The Terminators are kind of not mobile once they arrive. And your Blade Guards obviously aren't mobile, but they probably don't need to be because they're just going to head to the middle of the board. So I guess mobility is about an 8. And then specialization, so we have the Whirlwind, we have a good amount of psychic powers, we have, Chapter Master rerolls from Dante, we have 13 3 damage weapons, we have the ability to make the enemy fight last, and we also have the ability to make one of our units fight first. So I think there's not too much missing at all in specialization. I think it's like a 9.5. I think this list kind of does a bit of everything. I think that's probably it's a reasonably high score. I think if we see, I struggled. I ran 3 Eliminators, and I didn't feel that they did all that well. Just the 3 of them. We've been talking a little bit in Discord about running 3 Eliminators with a Phobos Captain next to them to basically buff them, and also the Phobos Captain to do a bit of damage as well. Maybe if you want to run Eliminators, you want to go that way. I have not played Eliminators enough to know that if 3 of them are going to be good enough in 9th edition. The Psychic Mastery trait on the other Librarian would probably be good, and that would start you on 5 CP. And I recommend people don't start on less than 5. So, I think you could do that. And I suppose it is interesting to note that this is a list that includes Dante, but he's not actually running Dante as his Warlord, so Dante won't get his Warlord trait. So, although he's including Dante, he's not rating him highly enough to include his Warlord trait. Dante is just contentious right now. If this was my list, I would, for 160 points, I 100% bring the Chapter Master on the bike. He's the same points cost. He's way more survivable. Does more damage, and the only thing he's losing out is he can't move through breachable terrain, I guess. But I don't think it even matters. With Might of Heroes, you can actually make the Chapter Master on the bike toughness 7, which is pretty crazy as well. I'd run a Phobos Lieutenant to buff them. They already have a good ballistic skill, so rerolls would be cheaper and more viable. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're gonna include the Eliminators, you have to drop the Sanguinary Priest here. Or one of the other characters, but I would probably say the Sanguinary Priest and run the Phobos Captain with the Eliminators. And then I guess take those other 80 points and do something else with them, maybe some more eradicators or something like that. But I'm going to run 6 eliminators myself. I need to know how they get on, your 6 eliminators, and I need you to tell me how you run them, and if you run them with you need to run them with a captain to get the rerolls and tell me how you do with them. So yeah, I mean, I think a 42.5 is a pretty solid score for this list. I don't think Sanguinary Guard are too expensive to include anymore. I really don't. And I mean, in terms of raw damage output, Sanguinary Guard generally do the most damage out of all of our units. And they're one of the most mobile units as well. They can obviously advance and still fire, which is really nice. So you can end up having them move like 18 inches and like completely relocate from one side of the board to the other in a single turn, and then fire. I don't even know if you need to use upon wings of fire from them now that they're bolters or assault. Just fly them 80. Just fly them like, 13 inches plus d6, and you can pretty much. You can cover like a 30-inch and an easy charge in 2 turns. But yeah, so this is an okay list, I think. Yeah, I'm not convinced on. I'm really not convinced on dropping the Sanguinary Guard just because they went up 2 points per model, and I think this is what Adam's done, and I think one of the strengths, I guess, with the Sanguinary Guard is that they can reposition like across the board, like we said. And obviously he's going to run Terminators, and Terminators just flat out can't do that. So because of that, I guess that's why the list is scored a little bit lower. Like I guess if it was Sanguinary Guard, maybe the mobility goes up 0.5. If it was maybe your monster and vehicle goes up 0.5, and maybe even your anti-horde could go up to 9 as well, because you've included like 16 more assault bolter shots, which brings you to like a 44, which is really competitive, like a really, really competitive list. And like, I think I prefer that. I mean, I think this list is not bad, but and I guess you have to play it, but I think 3 eliminators on their own are not going to do too much work. I think if you're going to run 6 eliminators with like a captain to buff them, then they're going to do pretty well. But we talked about Master Marksman Phobos Captain. I think that's going to be pretty good. But I think just 3 eliminators on their own are going to feel a little bit lackluster. And I don't really rate the Teleport Homer Highland. I've included it. I've included the Teleport Homer a couple of times, and I've never actually had a good opportunity to use it. I suppose how often do you use Upon Wings of Fire in 9th edition? Like, I honestly think I tried to use it one time, and people told me, oh, you can only use it on core now, and I was like, shit. So I don't see a lot of value out of the Teleport Homer. I mean, maybe there's some, but yeah, it's very situational at best. Benjamin, are you Fear 1983 on Discord? Is that you? All right, let me. Because I got a list sent to me by Maverick, and I got a list sent to me by. Oh yeah, Maverick was Paul C. Okay, so Paul C, this is your new list. So I assume Benjamin is Fear 1983. Yeah, okay, you forgot. Cool. Alright, cool. Alright, we're going to go and do your list next then. Thanks for sending that over, Benjamin. Yeah, I guess. Sorry it's taken so long to get to your list. I don't know how long ago you submitted it, but yeah, I mean, we try and get through them as quickly as we can, but sometimes I do get a bit of a backlog of lists when there's a lot of submissions. Benjamin Reynolds. Okay. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much, Rizio. And happy Father's Day to any of you guys who have kids. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out on Father's Day. I mean, what better way to spend Father's Day, right, than talking Warhammer 40,000? That's what Father's Day should be all about. I didn't get no present this morning, and I honestly just wonder, like, I say to my wife all the time, like, it's not difficult to know what to buy me, right? Just literally go to Element Games, type in Blood Angels, you could buy anything that comes up in the search results, and I'd probably be happy. But I don't seem to get Warhammer gifts nearly enough. So anyway, moving on. Yeah, right, Benjamin, right. I mean, it's the same at Christmas. I'm like, literally, my whole family. Well, I mean, this was before I even had the YouTube channel. They know that like I love Warhammer and I play Blood Angels, and that's my thing. And it's like at Christmas, you're opening your presents and you're getting like socks and shit. And I'm like, could anyone, just go on to the friggin' website and just buy me something Blood Angels? My wife got me a model of NX-01 Enterprise. I was so stoked. Is that... I am not a super big Star Trek fan, but I did like the original movies with Kirk and all that. Is that... I take it NX-01 is like the first Enterprise from like Kirk's era. I like the original Star Trek. I liked it a lot. I tell my wife the same thing, and it's never 40k. Yeah, like what do us guys have to give to get a proper a proper Warhammer Father's Day or Christmas? It's archers. Oh yeah, okay. I liked Enterprise as well, actually. I was kind of sad when they cancelled that series. That was a good one. I think it only went for 4 series. Okay, so next up we're going to look at Benjamin's list. And Benjamin's a member as well. I mean, there's a lot of members in the chat tonight, so I appreciate you guys so much, by the way, the members. It's much appreciated. Right, so we are looking at, I was going to say, it's a battalion, and it is 1 extra relic. So we start with the captain on the bike, who is the chapter master. He is Icon of the Angel, Infernal Pistol. He is master of the Codex, and he is a Thunderhammer. Master of the Codex is the one where you can get a CP on a 5+ or something. It's a Space Marine one. I don't actually use it much. At the start of the command phase, you get 1 additional CP on a 4+, so it's good for like an average of 2 CP every game. And you're starting on a battalion with like 11 CP here. You don't need Master of the Codex if you're starting on 11 CP. Like, what are you spending all your CP on? Because I start the game on 5 CP and usually feel pretty good about that. I would take the captain on the bike is amazing with Gift of Foresight. I mean, we've talked about it for 10 minutes on the stream already. I mean, why do you think you need 13 CP, I guess? So we have Quickening, Shield of Sanguinius, Wings of Sanguinius. He is the Chief Librarian. He has a Meltagun. He has a Psychic Mastery on the Librarian Dreadnought. I'm going to get the Defiant kit later. Yeah, I mean, crap gifts. Why not just have a list online where your family can buy stuff? I mean, I guess that would be a good idea, but you can make like your own wish lists and stuff on Amazon. So then you have the Sanguinary Priest, who's the Chief Apothecary in the Jump Pack. And the Sanguinary Priest is taking Rites of War rather than Selfless Healer and the Armor Indomitus. Is that right? Is this point cost right? Or I think Chief Apothecary is 35 points now, Benjamin. I think... I guess, right, so you could run Rites of War, I guess, and then use some of your CP for revives every turn. I guess pay 1 CP every time you need to revive with the Sanguinary Priest. I guess that's an option. Alright, and then if you tell me what's wrong, we'll keep moving down. I'm not a fan of making the beat stick characters too supporty. Give Icon of the Angel and Gift of Foresight to the Chapter Master instead of a trait. I'm not a fan of making the beatstick characters too supporty. I mean, I don't know if he's that supporty with Icon of the Angel. I mean, Icon of the Angel is generally just good in general for getting their charges made, I guess. We got 1 Infiltrator and 2 Incursors, which is a very strong contingent of troops, right? This sort of gives you that solid troop ability to... contest a couple of forward objectives with the Incursors and defend your home field objective with the Infiltrators. Before I gave up on battalions, this was kind of what I recommended. Either like 2 Infiltrators and 1 Incursor, or 2 Incursors and 1 Infiltrator. It gives you a lot of options in terms of like what you do on the map. We then have Blade Guard, and we've got 5 of them, which is a pretty strong Blade Guard squad. I guess 5 keeps them in the realm where they are 1 CP to transhuman the squad. Make support characters that are totally dedicated to that, or can at least defend themselves, or just make pure beat sticks. But Icon is a smart pick. Yeah, I mean, Icon of the Angel, I think, is never a bad pick. Making your charges is always going to be super important with Blood Angels. And I think if you did put Gift of Foresight on the Chapter Master, then I think he's pretty survivable. You know, what is he? Toughness. He's toughness 5, and he's set 6 wounds. Yeah, I think that's right. Toughness 5, 6 wounds. I mean, he's not going to be that easy to drop. And with Gift of Foresight, you get to reroll 1 save every turn for free. You also have 11 CP in this list, or 12 CP, I think it was. So, yeah, sorry, 11 CP because. Oh, hold on. There's a. Rites of War is a warlord trait, so that's Selfless Healer, so that's 1 CP, and he's also got Psychic Mastery, which is 1 CP. Alright, so it's not quite 11, it's 10, 8. I think you still have 8 though. Am I missing something? He's got Hero of the Chapter and a Relic, which costs you 2. Then your Warlord has the 2 as well, and then the other guy has 2. Yeah, I think it should be 8. You're starting with. That's okay. Don't get upset about it. It happens. But even starting with 8 CP, if you did have Gift of Foresight on the captain, he's not dying easily, right? Toughness 5, 6 wounds, 1 free reroll every turn, and you could CP to get a 2nd free roll every turn. He has Icon of the Angel, not Master of the Codex. I'm with you now, okay. But Master of the Codex is a warlord trait, not a relic. Yeah, so I think you can keep Icon of the Angel. You need to I think you give him Gift of Foresight. You've already said here's Hero of the Chapter. I really think, if you've not tried Gift of Foresight on that captain, try it. Trust me, it's so good. I absolutely swear by it. The Priest has the Selfless Healer, not the Rites of War. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's a pretty standard. But yeah, I give Gift of Foresight. I'm gonna force you to take that. You don't have a choice. Just put Gift of Foresight on the captain of the bike, run it in a couple of battles, and let me know how it goes. Trust me, you will love it, especially once you start basically auto-hitting and auto-wounding with that Infernal Pistol, and that free save is going to keep you alive. So it's going to put so much strength on your captain. Trust me. And then 5 Blade Guard might be too much here. Like, I usually use Blade Guard to hold the middle of the map. If that's your plan, then you're probably okay with 3 or 4. You might not need 5. We have a Redemptor Dreadnought who has the Frag Storms, the Heavy Flamer, the Onslaught, and the Rocket Pods. I'd swap out the Onslaught for the Plasma if you have the ability to do so. Like if you have them magnetized, or if you have another arm. The Heavy Onslaught looks good on paper, but the Plasma is just going to be more. What I'm trying to say, the Plasma is going to be more flexible, right? Because even on low power, the Plasma is 2 damage. So, and if you shoot like a squad of a decent amount of guys, you haven't built it yet, then either magnetize it. You don't actually need to magnetize them. Those arms on the Redemptors. There's like a little bit of plastic that sticks onto the weapon, so you can kind of just stick it in, even though it's upside down. Like even though it's a joint, you know, like it'll just stick in. I can actually show you if you don't believe me how I've done mine. If you want to see that, let me know and I'll show you. Because I've got one magnetized and I've got one that I didn't magnetize, but you can still change out the arm on the one that I didn't magnetize. But yeah, the Plasma is going to be better here. Even on low power, it's 2 damage a shot. If you need to take out like heavy targets, you can bump it up to high power, I believe it's strength 9 on high power, and I want to say it's a -4, that plasma. Let me double check that, because Andrew asked me it this week, and I was like, I think it's -4. What's it called? Macroplasma. Yeah, even on low power, it's strength 8 -4, 2 damage. So, like, against like other Marines, 2 damage Marines, you're just going to be killing them left, right, and center. And then on high power, it's strength 9, 3 damage. So the strength 9 and the 3 damage means it's good against Death Guard. You would like to see... Alright, 1 second, let me grab it. Alright, let me show you. And this one's not finished. This was the one that I was working on, the Death Company chapter. But he's kind of taken a backfield because my army got changed. So, right here, like a little square, I guess. And then on this bit, little square bit. So basically you can just... no magnets required. Easy-ozy. But yeah, make it with the plasma, trust me. It's going to be more flexible. Good morning from Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Do we still like Devastator squads? With multi-melters and a Sharab, probably it's kind of hard to argue with them. But are Eradicators going to be better than Devastator squads in terms of their multi-meltas or the equivalent or assault, right? And so that means they can get to move a little bit further. Thanks for following Baskula. I appreciate that. So make it with... Obviously, make it so you can switch out the weapons, but make it with a plasma. And it's just... Yes, if you come up against like a giant horde list that's got 10... It's got a big squad of like 20 Poxwalkers. Yes, you're going to kill more of them with the heavy onslaught cannon. But across the board, against lots of different enemies, you're going to get more value out of the plasma 100%. And if you do come against a horde-based list, then you're probably going to get maximum 6 shots out your plasma anyway, and every shot is going to be a dead model because you're going to wound everything on 2s. So, I actually forget the strength of a heavy onslaught cannon, but I think it's strength 6, is it? I know the regular onslaught cannon is strength 5. Heavy onslaught is strength... Heavy onslaught... Strength 6, yeah. So... I guess if you're fighting Sisters of Battle, the heavy onslaught is going to be good as well, but if you're fighting anything that's toughness 4 or above, and especially even against those new toughness 5 orcs, then you're probably going to end up seeing probably similar or if not better results from the plasma. I've mostly played against Necrons and other Space Marines so far. Then you're going to wound them all on 2s. Benjamin, so that's why I'd say take the plasma. And I guess if any of those models are multi-wound models, then you're just going to instantly kill them. And the -4 is going to help so much more than the -1 from the onslaught. On paper, the onslaught looks really good, but in practice, it just... Because it's the same points as the plasma, I just think the plasma gives you more versatility. Really, it does. We then move into veteran squads, Vanguard veterans, obviously. Lightning Claws and Storm Shields on a lot of them. 2 Infernal Pistols up here, and then a Thunder Hammer on the Sergeant. I kind of like that. I always like to have an Infernal Pistol in a Vanguard Veteran squad. 2, 4, 6, 7 guys. 2 Infernal Pistols and a Thunder Hammer. I mean, you could have maybe gone for a Relic Blade here to save 2 points, but having that 3 damage weapon is probably good because we talk a lot about... -1 damage being a problem. So there's that. Multi-melters or grav cannons out of... See, I think the grav cannons were really good last edition Highland Phoenix on Devastators. Like, really, really strong, because they had a stratagem that let them like reroll hits and wounds on grav cannons last edition. but I guess that's gone now. And I suppose the problem in coming out of drop pod is you are -1 to hit because you're a heavy weapon, right? Like, because you count as moving coming out of the drop pod. So, yeah, I don't think Devastator squads are bad. And obviously you can do a Sheriff on them. And the Sergeant can make one model get +1 to hit. So if you're going to... The trick you can do with the Devastator squad is the Sergeant makes the one guy with the Sheriff +1 to hit, so that you can basically get like 2 models hitting on +1, or you can get 2 rounds of shooting hitting on +1. But well, the other thing to say about the Sergeant, though, I suppose, Reziel, is just assume that the Sergeant's going to die last, so you don't really need this Storm Shield on him because all the other guys are going to die with the Storm Shields first. That's kind of how I run my Vanguard veterans as well. I don't have a problem with the Sergeant not having a shield. You know, my Sergeant has an Infernal Pistol and a Relic Blade. We then have Inceptors, and I guess these guys have gone up. They are insanely pointed now, and this, I guess... Yeah, this is going to be 5 Inceptors, and I think they would now be 300 points for 5 of them. We did do a comparison on them right after they went up in points cost, and they are still very good. So, Inceptors, Plasmas, even at 300 points per model, they are still very good. It's just getting very pricey to run them. Thank you, Centaur Gaming. I appreciate the subscription. And then in heavy support, we have heavy Melterite rifle eradicators, 4 of them, and the Whirlwind Castle and Launcher. So I recently, up until last week, I was running heavy Melter rifle eradicators, and I want to say I had mixed opinions on the heavy Melter rifle eradicators. 300 points per model? No, 300 points for 5 Inceptors is the cost of them now. Plasmas, they're 60 points per model. Did I say 300? Sorry, I meant 60. 300 for the squad. So the heavy Melter rifle eradicators for me seemed interesting, right? Like, so against the game I played with them against Orcs, and on one of the games against Sisters of Battle, when they were very much taking the fight to me, then the heavy Melter rifle eradicators were able to stand still, and they do a phenomenal amount of damage if they don't move. When they start moving, you basically, you take like a 16% to hit penalty because they're moving, and also they don't move that far, 5 inches. So where your regular eradicators can advance, these guys can't, or advance and shoot. I guess these guys can't. So my feeling with this squad, based on the fact that your Inceptors actually went up like 25 points here, so you need to find 25 points to make this list still work, I might just swap these out for 3 attack bikes with multi-meltas. I'm actually going to be bringing back my attack bikes with multi-meltas this week. I do think the heavy Melter rifle eradicators are very, very strong, but in some games they can be difficult to get them where you need to be, just with your limited 5-inch move. They also don't hit reliably if they have to move. They can't keep up with your captain, so one of the big advantages of the attack bikes is they can easily keep up with the captain, so they can stay within that bubble and get the rerolls to 1s. And obviously they don't have any penalty to move and shoot. So I'm going to be leaving the heavy Melter rifle eradicators on the bench, and that's my opinion of them. I think damage-wise, if you know the enemies are going to be coming towards you, and you can screen them, and you can shoot freely, they're going to do an absolute ton of damage. But if it's a map where you need to be on the front foot, and you need to be moving out, and you need to be making the plays, you're going to struggle with the eradicators, and that's how I felt about them after running them for like 2 or 3 games. I run the eradicators, but no, I'm going back to my attack bikes this week. Eradicators are going to be on the bench. Ideally, start in elevated terrain. Yeah, I mean that was kind of how I was playing them as well, trying to get them on a good piece of terrain, or get them in cover to begin with, and then move them onto that terrain. So, yeah, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say they're bad by any means. Like Brett brought he brought like some crazy orc dreadnought up against me, and my eradicators just absolutely pummeled it. Like like they did like 16 damage plus 4d6 to it in one turn, right? So it absolutely melted it. But that was because he was an orc player and he had to come right at me against another army. Maybe that doesn't have to do that. It's not maybe as strong. So notably, I suppose, is you haven't actually included Sanguinary Guard either. I mean, I'm okay with not taking Sanguinary Guard. I don't think that you have to take them, but I do think they are one of our most damaging units, and if you can find a way to fit them in, you probably should. I mean, I might be tempted to break this list into like how many elites have you got? You only got 3 elites, right? So you could break this list into double patrol detachments, so pay 2 CP. So rather than start with 8, you start with 6. I think starting with 6 is totally fine. Drop one squad of troops, that gives you 105 points. Maybe drop a couple of these Inceptors, maybe drop a Blade Guard Veterans, and then you've probably got enough room for like a 7 or 8 Sanguinary Guard. I'd probably say I prefer that. Like, what do your troops usually accomplish, right? They usually try and hold objectives. Hey Camille, how you doing? So yeah, they usually try and hold objectives. So in that case, this would totally work with a double patrol. Yeah, and that's probably what I'd do. I'd probably drop like 2 Inceptors, a Blade Guard Veteran, 1 squad of troops. That gives you 260 points. You might not even need to drop 2 Inceptors. You could probably just drop 1 and have like a 6-man Sanguinary Guard to back things up and to bring a lot of damage. Just arm them with bolters and swords. That's fine. I mean, I think 4 Blade Guard Veterans is hard enough to kill. If you've got the priest there, if you've got the the Feel No Pain, the ability to resurrect one, I think 4 is plenty. I was actually running 4 Blade Guard Veteran and I've dropped it down to 3 now. So I guess think of that as you will, I guess. Like or run 5 of them for a few games and see if you feel like how you get on with 5 of them. I agree that Blood Angels shouldn't run more than 2 troop units, wasting points on non-damaging units, so double patrol or patrol vanguard is definitely where it's at for Blood Angels in competitive in 9th edition. Yeah, I don't think battalions are as strong as they once were for Blood Angels, that's my opinion. I ran the double patrol for a few games and felt like it was stronger, and then I went into patrol and vanguard and just went down to 1 troop choice. And 1 troop choice sometimes feels a little bit light in troops, so I can totally get on board with still running the double patrol. The limit with the double patrol is the 4 elites, but you only have 3 here because you have a good number of fast attack and heavy support, so that's probably what I would do as well. But let's score your list as is, and then hopefully we've given you a lot of feedback, right? So you can make some changes. And I usually say to people, like, when I've gone over your list, try and play it like before you maybe make any changes, but keep some of the things I said in mind and be like, yeah, okay, I can see Eradicators are good if the enemy runs at me, but if I have to get them around the board, then I really struggled with that, so that probably needs to be switched out or something like that, right? Okay, so objective holding, I guess, like with 3 Phobos units, so you start very strong. It's a good amount for holding objectives. It's something that we usually have to give up a little bit to score really well elsewhere. Now, we have our 1 Redemptor Dreadnought who has a little bit of firepower. We have our Whirlwind and we have our Inceptors. So I guess anti-Horde is probably very strong. The 5 Plasma Inceptors when they arrive probably actually, they just melt a giant. Well, you melt 1 squad a turn, maybe with those Plasma Inceptors. What would that be, like potentially 30 plasma shots? Yeah, I mean, they're expensive in points, but they do a good amount of work. Against enemy vehicles, so we have the Eradicators, and we have our Dreadnought, and then maybe we have like our Captain or Librarian. So I think it's okay. I don't think it's super strong, and I mean, Inceptors can shoot against armor and stuff, it's just not going to be the most effective. So maybe like it's an 8-5 for anti-monster armor. It may actually be an 8, right? Like maybe if you do the Sanguinary Guard in there, like maybe I feel like it would be the 8-5. Close that. Mobility-wise, I think your Eradicators aren't mobile. Your Phobos units can obviously use guerrilla tactics. Your Blade Guard aren't mobile, and they don't need to be. So I think the mobility is similar. And then let's have a look at how many 3 damage weapons we have. So we have 4 Eradicators. We have a Thunderhammer here, and then 2 more Infernal Pistols, so that gives us 7. We have the Gatling... Sorry, not the Gatling Cannon. We really need to swap that Gatling Cannon out. So we just have the Fist here, that gives us 8. Our Librarian Dreadnought has a couple, so that's 10. Does he have a couple or just one? No, just one, so that's 9. Captain on the Bike has the Infernal Pistol and the Thunderhammer, so 11. So 11 3 damage weapons is okay. I think my list had like 16 or 17, and I think maybe about 15 is the threshold that I'm looking for in 3 damage weapons. So it's not bad, it's not great. You obviously have the Whirlwind, so you can do the Suppression Fire. We have Shield of Sanguinius, and we have a Psyker with a couple of denies if we want that. We have the Reviving. Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, the list covers all corners. I think that last list we gave 9 out of 9.5. So I say this is just a little bit lower, right? Like a few 3 damage weapons lower, and maybe a little bit lower on the psychic potency as well. And then if we go off what Highland just said, yeah, I think 3 troop choices is the wrong call now for Blood Angels. I mean, it's okay. So I guess we're saying it's just a little bit weaker than the specialization of the previous list, but we did call out 3 things it's weaker in. So we'll take a point off for those 3 things. So we come in at 42 out of 50. So that's it's still a very good score. Anything above 40 is probably a reasonably competitive list, and I think we give you enough things there to maybe make some improvements. Was it a Combi Melta or Infernal Pistol and Librarian? It was neither. It was Librarian Dreadnought. But I mean, I do like the Meltagun on that Librarian Dreadnought. He usually has to be in close and tangle. So if he's in close like that, a Meltagun on him is never a bad choice. If you have the points, I guess, at the end of the list. Right. So that is that's Benjamin's list. Cool. Okay. And hopefully that gives you some tweaks and improvements. But yeah, absolutely. Bring back a new list, play it a couple of times, and let us know how you get on. And we are moving on to list number 3 then. And this is Steel Rain. We haven't had a submit. We've done a couple of lists for Steel Rain before, but we've not done one in a while, I think. So usually I think Steel Rain has pretty strong lists. So this should be interesting. But no, you're welcome, Benjamin. Hopefully you get to the table soon and you get winning some games. Alright, hey Commander, this is my new list after chapter approved changes. I think Plasma Scepters and potentially Sangre Guard are overcosted now, especially for what I was using them for. This list is to try some new things. It's a bit funky compared to normal. Sangre Guard, I guess, some people are going to think they're overcosted. It's only 2 points per model. I mean, it's only 6% increase, I guess. Hey Mess, thank you for subscribing. The Death Company are pretty much always Forlorn Fury, and I expect to have to pay Refusal to die on them, so I'm assuming 4 CP to start after that. I'm deploying my Chapter Master forward, so I don't have to chain back to get rerolls in the Death Company. My Chapter Master and Eliminators can steal positions to help Incursors with midfield objectives and let the Incursors move around to do actions. They're also a significant threat to enemy characters that mess with enemy buffs to make them hide. The Jump Pack Chaplains run with the Vanguard Veterans. I would rather have him Hammer of Baal, but I ended up tight on points. I'm pretty much considering him a bonus to the Vanguard Veterans. Both Dreads and the Librarian and the Tech Marine move to the Centre for Oath. The Death Company Dread is there to be the can opener for transport, deal with hordes or other units in the midfield. The Vindicator floats around but stays where I can get to with my Tech Marine. My opponents so far have targeted it first, which I'm fine with. Do you know what? When I had a Vindicator on the battlefield, people always targeted that first as well. The ATVs are floating to deal with melta targets and hold objectives late game and free up combat units. I also unashamedly run 3 troops happily and have no desire to change whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, if you feel a battalion strong, don't let me stop you. I think some army lists or some enemies, like battalions, are strong against most things, but like I guess so. When I played Custodes, what I found out was like my infiltrators literally could do nothing against the Custodes, like 0 damage. And I guess the Incursors, I believe, as well, just got eaten up by the Custodes and did nothing. So I guess if you're up against certain armies, troops can maybe be a problem. But in the most, it's situational. Most times troops are fine. But I prefer to keep the number of troops down, I guess. Alright, so what we got? We got a patrol detachment, Chapter Master and Phobos Armor, Gift of Foresight, and the Master Marksman. So he's going to reroll his hit and his wound, and he's going to be desperately to snipe enemy characters. We have a Librarian with Veil of Time and Psychic Fortress. We have a squad of Incursors. We then have a 10-man squad of Death Company Marines, and I assume these are jump Death Company Marines, right? 280 points? I have to check that. I think Death Company are 25. Have these Death Companies... Are these guys have jump packs or no jump packs? Actually, yeah, maybe jump packs would be 2 points per model. So this is just a Death Company on foot, is it? Death Company means 22 points per model. Jump pack 3 points per model. So, oh no, this they have jump packs here. Sorry, yeah, 280 points. They have jump packs. Okay. Vanguard veterans, 2 Thunder Hammers, Storm Shields, Lightning Claws, Storm Shields. I would swap out the Sergeant's Storm Shield for Infernal Pistol or one of the other models, I guess. But yeah, I would. I think now that they are 5 points, it makes it a very easy switch. The Vindicator with the Siege Shield, I was going to say, does he have the Siege Shield on the Vindicator? So basically the Vindicator gets a 2+ save against ranged weaponry. Troops are usually the backbone that get me half my points. Tabling or getting tabled doesn't matter if you're up on victory points. Yeah, I think so, but at the same time, yeah, it's a tough one. I only run one unit of troops at the moment, and like I generally have no problems with that. Then we have the Patrol Detachment, and it's the hero of the chapter. It's the Artisan of War. He's got a pair of Lightning Claws and Adamantium Mantle. I was going to say, this must be a captain with... There's just a captain with Lightning Claws? I think a captain's 80 points, right? And then a jump pack is 25? I actually don't know how he made this captain. Let me double check. So it's a captain, 85 points, 2 lightning clauses plus 5 points, so 9. Yeah, so this captain has a jump pack as well, okay. So it's basically just a captain with a pair of lightning claws and a 5+ feel no pain. We then have the Primaris Tetmarine, who's Master of the Forge, so we do a flat 3 damage heal every turn. Do you know what? I was running that for a little while, Rezio. 2 Phobos troops and 1... I was running 2 squads of infiltrators and 1 squad of assault intercessors. But I just found assault intercessors were just always getting killed in no man's land. You know, trying to get from objective to objective, they just died, and that's why I ended up benching them. I think in like the 10 games I played with assault intercessors, I feel like they were only valuable in like 2 games. So I just dropped them. And I think that was when I left battalions behind, right? Okay, then Incursors. What was the other? So it's 2 squads of Incursors. We then have the Death Company Dreadnought with the 2 Heavy Flamers and the Blood Talons. We have a Redemptor Dreadnought with the Plasma and the Onslaught, the Fragstorm. We have 2 Invader ATVs with Multi-Meltas. We have the Whirlwind, and then we have the Eliminators with the Instigator Carbine, and the bolt rifles. So the Eliminators have the ability to move, shoot, and then move again afterwards. No problem, Steel Rain. I just wanted to make sure that I had it right. Yeah, I mean, the thing about troops, I guess, is like, and sometimes if Pedroig's in the chat, he always says this as well. Pedroig basically says, like, as Blood Angels, we're usually on the enemy objectives, contesting them and killing them, and if we're doing that correctly, you know, what do we need our troops for? You know, maybe there's one backfield objective to hold. Here's the thing, though, right? I would say that like 90% of these lists we're looking at have a whirlwind on it as well, right? Surely you use the whirlwind to hold a backfield objective. So at that point, if you have the whirlwind holding the backfield objective, then if you have 2 troop units holding 1 or 2 other objectives, like, are you not... What do you need the third troop choice for? Would you not be better taking a stronger elite choice that can do more killing? I guess it's a tough question. Thanks for tuning in, Gary. I hope you had a good weekend. Okay, so let me skim this list real quick. We've got the Chapter Master in the Phobos armor, who's going to be deployed forward with Eliminators, and he's going to hopefully give the Death Company some sort of rerolls when turn 1 begins, because they're going to be Forlorn Furied. We have a good squad of Storm-Shielded Vanguard veterans. We have the Vindicator with a Siege Shield, which is basically a Distraction Carnifex. I mean, the Vindicator's damage is so swingy. I mean, it can do an absolute ton of damage if you roll well, but it can also do 1 damage if you roll badly. So the Vindicator is kind of a distraction. 140 points is actually not a distraction. Yeah, I mean, it's not a distraction you worry about losing, I guess. If the enemy are going to shoot the Vindicator each turn or for a couple of turns, you're probably fine with that. You have the Tech Marine, I guess, that could buff the Vindicator and or a couple of your center field Dreadnoughts. We've talked a lot about how we think a double heavy flamer on the Death Company Dreadnought or a Ironclad Dreadnought would be good because it prevents charges. Same as the reason I take Centurions with flamers, right? So you can prevent charges if you play well. ATVs with multi-meltas, you know, they're basically twice as survivable as an attack bike, and obviously just as mobile. So overall, I think it's an interesting list. I'm a little bit sad that there's no Sanguinary Guard, but I don't think it's bad. And I guess it will all come down to how much damage you do from the Death Company. You know, when they arrive and when they jump across the battlefield, I guess. From your Forlorn Fury, like, I feel like that goes either way, right? Like, they either absolutely smash into an enemy and get and do a ton of work, or they smash into an enemy and they don't do what you quite need them to do. There isn't a priest here, so there's no way to get those Death Company into Assault Doctrine in turn 1, which is a little sad. But I mean, it's generally just difficult now because the priest's been made stupidly expensive. Are you Forlorn Fury in the Death Company Dread? Otherwise, I go for the Iron Hand. Do you know what? I thought that Highland, and we actually did a bit of a comparison. The Ironclad Dreadnought against the Death Company Dreadnought. I think I shared the picture in Discord, and it's like, it's literally 50-50. If anything, the Death Company Dreadnought actually has a small advantage, and you wouldn't have thought it would. But I guess that Feel No Pain over the 8 wounds actually gives it the small advantage. Troops are paying for CP. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, troops do save you. They do save you some CP. I guess it depends on how greedy your army feels like in CP. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we could debate on how many troops you bring to the battlefield. That's a topic for another day. But yeah. I think that you're okay bringing less than 3. If you want to bring 3 through, bring 3, you know? And is there a way to get Quake Bolts into this list? I mean, you could... I was going to say, the Eliminator Sergeant, can he take Quake Bolts? Is that Is his rifle like Investigator Bolt? What is it? Investigator Bolt Carbine or something? Like, can it actually take Quake Bolts, or is that not valid? I haven't run Eliminators in forever. I ran them like 1 game or 2 games in like a squad of 3 and didn't really feel like they were very good. It is a bolt gun. Investigator bolt carbine. So maybe you could put quake bolts on the Eliminator. He only gets one shot anyway, so it might be worth thinking about. But I suppose if he's sniping enemies, then maybe that's not so important. Yeah, probably not so important, I guess. Yeah. 2 times patrol is where it's at right now. If you were to buy 2 combat patrol box sets starting out, which ones would you pick, or would you go with individual units? I think if you're going to buy a combat patrol right now, I think the Dark Angels one is the best for Blood Angels. It's been a little while since what was in the Dark Angels combat patrol? I think you get the Dreadnought, don't you? Oh, you get Inceptors. Okay, so Inceptors are very good. You get like a squad of... What are these? Just intercessors? Yeah, so I would probably buy the Dark Angels box to get started with. And then beyond that, I'd probably buy like some Sanguinary Guard or something. If you want to really get started with Blood Angels Aftermath, there's a video I made, and it's like top 10 Blood Angels units or something. I guess if you search that, you just search that into Google, and my video's right there at the very top. Just watch that video, and that'll give you an idea of the armies that you want to get started with. The units you want to get started with. Everything in that video was pretty competitive, so that's what I'm recommending for the top 10 right now. So Captain with his Eliminators, Tech Marine for the Dreadnoughts, Librarian, just Veil of Time and Psychic Fortress, Death Company, Vanguard Vets, the Siege Shield, and then the Invader ATVs. So let's do some scoring then. Steel Rain, we're going to start with OBSEC 7.5. We've got the 2 Phobos troops. Clearing enemy units. Now, we could do some clear with these heavy flamers. We can definitely do some clear with the Dreadnought. Do a little bit of clear with Invader ATVs. I guess if you must, you could do some clear with Eliminators using like the Hyper Frag rounds, I believe they're called. And then I guess we've got that Death Company able to smash in pretty early. So I'm guessing like anti-infantry, probably like an 8.5, maybe it's a 9. Was I missing something else that's got shooting? I mean, the Tech Marine can shoot a little bit. And then the Vindicator. I mean, the Vindicator is going to be okay against hordes if you want to hit them with a strength 10 cannon, I guess. But I think something like that. Anti-monster, anti-infantry. Sorry, anti-monster, anti-vehicle. So, multi-melt is here. Dreadnought times 2. This is going to be a weird list, actually, because it's kind of got like an anti-character element to it, and we don't often score anything for like anti-characters, right? Because the Phobos guys and the Eliminators are going to be doing some damage to characters, so maybe we need to add a point to specialization here afterwards. Or maybe we add a point in this one. So our jump back captain with his lightning claws, who's going with the Vanguard Vets. Yeah, this is an interesting list. It's very different to what we normally see. I'm thinking like 9 for anti-monster vehicles. Maybe you struggle a little bit with mobility in that, like, I guess your Redemptors, your Death Company, your Eliminators, your Tech Marine, I guess arguably your Vindicator and your Librarian aren't mobile, so you have a lot. You're going to have to lose some points there in mobility, like anti-horde and the monsters, and maybe, like I said, we maybe need to add 1 point here or like another half point because you have this anti-character element that most lists don't have. And then we have, like, what are we looking at in 3 damage weapons? So the Phobos Captain has a 3 damage weapon. We've got 2 Thunder Hammers here, another 2, so that gives us 5. The Vindicator gives us 6. The Tech Marine gives us 7. The Death Company Dreadnought has a few, so that I guess that gives us 8. The other Dreadnought has a couple, so that's 11. 2 multi-meltas here, 12, 13. So we have our Whirlwind, we have solid psychic powers, and we have a Deny. We have the ability to make the enemy fight last. We have 13 3-damage weapons. We have sort of this anti-character element to it. So I'm guessing, like, I would say like specialization is probably a 9, but we're going to give an extra point because of that character element. So I think that basically makes it. I think it makes it like 41.5. This is, I mean, it's very different from the lists I run, and you guys know that I don't Forlorn Fury Death Company. Like, I don't. Far too many games I've played, I've ended up trading my Death Company out at the start of the battle, and like, I just don't like that. Even if they make a positive trade, I generally don't like that strategy myself. I mean, if you guys get value out of it, good luck, D King. Hope you do well in your tournament. You could give the Tech Marine a Relic Axe. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually think 13 3-damage weapons is probably decent. I think the question about this list will be whether these snipers actually work. And we've talked about these snipers for a little while, right? The Phobos Captain with Eliminators. So someone actually needs to run these and let us know how they do. Like, hey, the Phobos Captain Eliminators, they did amazing, or hey, Phobos Captain Eliminators were kind of lackluster. Forlorn Fury is the only way to run the Death Company. I mean, it definitely makes things interesting. And yeah, it's just I guess it's generally just not my strategy. So yeah, I guess I was going to say maybe it's a 42, maybe it's a 42.5, similar to these other lists. I don't know. I just don't run this enough steel, I'm afraid. My experience on Forlorn Fury and Big Death Company usually ends up with my Big Death Company being dead, and I like to make my models last. Like, I just like to play defensively, and I feel that like sometimes with a Forlorn Fury, I think I probably pressured myself to like make a Forlorn Fury charge every game and make it work, and then in some games it just wasn't optimal or it just didn't work. So I guess if you're smart and you can make that work, then more power to you. But yeah, I had big problems with it. They've done pretty good so far between the two. They usually can kill a Space Marine 4-wound or weaker character a turn. What is the damage on the Eliminator's guns? Is it D3? Or is it just 1? I forget. Yeah, you can move them defensively. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can move them defensively. I just don't typically do it. Oh, it's minus 2 damage. Okay. Yeah, the Eliminators is a really interesting choice now, I think, with the Phobos Captain. I may try it sooner rather than later. Flat 2 damage is the same. Yeah, thank you. And I think it kind of just creates another target that the enemies need to deal with, right? Like, they'll just see them standing on top of a building. You probably have them top of a building so that they can get a good line of sight to stuff. And yeah, I think it just creates it's kind of like your Vindicator actually in the list. It's like it kind of has like a second distraction element to it, where the enemy needs to shoot those things. But yeah, personally, I just think Sanguinary Guard, even at the extra points cost, like 280 points. Let me divide that down by 32. 280 divided by 32. So, like, 8 Sanguinary Guard with weapon options, I guess, like a couple of Infernal Pistols or some extra points to play with, I guess, over 10 Death Company, like, I think I pick the Sanguinary Guard all day long, honestly. Maybe at some point we actually need to do some Math Hammer where the Sanguinary Guard fight the Death Company. That might be interesting to do, 8 Sanguinary Guard v Death Company and see who wins. But yeah, I mean, Death Company do get the big advantage of the Forlorn Furies. So yeah, you can use them right. I hope that's a fair score. Maybe it's overly harsh on the mobility. But no, I think it seems about right. I think it's quite a different list. I don't think it's a bad list again, but yeah, it's a different one for scoring, that's for sure, because I've never tried the Eliminator in the Phobos units yet. I do like it. It's a tough one. Sisters, Admech, Dukari, Space Marine, Necron, Custodes, Death Guard are all weak v snipers. Yeah, I mean, I guess we may... Yeah, like the way I was thinking of doing it in my list would be to drop the Sanguinary Priest and pick up the snipers. So in some ways, Steel Rain's kind of already done this, right? Like that, there is no Sanguinary Priest in his list, but he has the snipers. I guess because there's no Sanguinary Priest, maybe you feel like the Sanguinary Guard aren't so good either because of the lack of the Priest. So, interesting list anyway. If you guys ever run any of these lists against in like tournaments and stuff, because D King actually, he's away to a tournament today, but he actually messaged me last night with the details of his tournament where he came second or whatnot. So if you guys ever run these in tournaments, I'd love to know when we can maybe make a video where we break down the list a bit further based on like tournament games and stuff like that. I haven't, I guess there hasn't been that many tournaments as of late because of COVID, but hopefully that's sort of starting to end now as well. Okay. Yeah, so let's see what's next up then. And next up we have Eliminators can do mortals with their I forget what it's called. Eliminators. Bring it up. Mortis rounds. A roll of 6 inflicts a mortal wound. So ideally you want to just be mortis rounding the enemy's characters every turn in range of the Phobos captains. So you hit on 2s, reroll 1s, and then it's just a case of make some wounds. Hopefully against toughness 4 or 5 characters it's going to be pretty reliable. It's going to sneak some wounds through every turn. And if their characters are just getting sniped away, they are going to have to either deal with your eliminators or just resign themselves to all their characters dying, which is not ideal, I guess. Not ideal at all. Hey Michael, thanks for tuning in. How you doing? Alright, so we're moving on to list number 4 for today, and this is a list submitted by Paul C. I should have probably said at the beginning, I put all the lists into the comments section of the video after the show finishes airing. So later tonight, if you want to see any of these lists or get them out of the comment sections, you can do that as well. Alright, so Paul is running a battalion, I think. It looks like a battalion, it doesn't say. But yeah, here it is. Yeah, it is a battalion. Starting with 8 CP. So he starts with a Vindicator Assassin, with the blind grenades, the pistol, and the rifle. We then have a captain who has the Gift of Foresight, Hammer of Baal, Iron Resolve Jump Pack. He's also got Angel as Exemplar, so Gift of Foresight. Oh, right, Gift of Foresight and Iron Resolve. Okay, so we are basically kind of like a Smash Captain, I guess. I think 6 wounds, 6 plus feel no pain, and then obviously the Thunder Hammer hitting on 2s. Strength 8 minus 3 damage. We have the Primaris Tet Marine, who's just the standard Tet Marine, and then we have the Sanguinary Priest upgraded to the Chief Apothecary, and who also is Icon of the Angel. Troops wise, it's 1 squad of infiltrators, 1 squad of intercessors with auto bolt rifles, 1 squad of assault intercessors. Alright, cool, Maverick. We then have the Blade Guard, and it's 3-man. I assume to hold the middle or something like that. We then have like an 8-man Death Company, and they have jump packs, and we've got 3 Thunderhammers. We then have 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, one with the Stormbolters macro, Onslaught and Fist, and the other one with the Fragstorm macro, Onslaught and Fist. And then we also have a Relic Contemptor with a twin Volkite covering, which is very good for killing hordes, I think. The Volkite covering for 150 points is decent. I personally didn't like how it cost 1 CP to include it, but I don't think it's bad at all. We've then kept the Sanguinary Guard, and we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 Sanguinary Guard, mostly swords and a couple axes, and I think that is the ideal way to run the Sanguinary Guard right now. And then the Whirlwind with the Castellan Launcher. I think as every list today had a Whirlwind in it. It's so funny that Whirlwind has become such a core thing for our lists. Okay, so Jump Captain, who is the Warlord, Jump Priest, your 3 troops, Blade Guard, Death Company, and the Sanguinary Guard. I like that. I like seeing both those. And then a few Dreadnoughts as the shooting. And try and give those Axe Guard Infernal Pistols too. I mean, it would be nice to get an Infernal Pistol into one of the squads, but needs must. If you don't have the points, I guess you don't have the points. I mean, the only way to do it would be to lose 1 Thunderhammer. I mean, you could lose a Thunderhammer and have a couple of your Death Company guys run Chainsword and Infernal Pistols, right? Maybe that would be an option. Anyway, 3 damage weapons. What we got? We've got the 2 Dreadnoughts. That gives us 4. We've got 3 hammers here. That gives us 7. Then we have our Tech Marine and Captain. So that gives us like 8, 9. So 9 3 damage weapons. So a little bit light in 3 damage weapons, I guess. I guess your Relic Contemptor can spit out some mortal wounds. Which is also nice. Auto bolts screen the dreads and move up. Assault Intercessors hold the middle with the Blade Guard. Hey Thomas, good evening, how you doing? Yeah, you didn't miss everything. We've just been through a few lists, so you can catch up still. And I mean, we're live tomorrow as well with another battle, so you've got that to look forward to as well. Vindicator Assassin for 100 points, and we're starting with 8 CP. So I mean, this is similar to the last list, right? We've got a sniper in there to try and deal with enemy characters. That's fine. We've got our jump captain who can jump in with either the Death Company, or Sanguinary Guard. We have a priest to keep them alive. We actually have a Tech Marine to keep our other 3 Dreadnoughts alive. We've got the Blade Guard to go to the middle with Assault Intercessors. I guess we've got the Infiltrators for holding objective, we've got the Whirlwind for holding objective, and we've got Intercessors with auto rifles for a bit of screening in the model. What are we playing tomorrow? We're playing a revised Sisters list. We talked a lot at the end of last week's stream about Andrew's Sisters list, and we tried to help him make it stronger because he is using all the new Sisters toys, and I actually think there's like a super strong Sisters list to be made. That's what I said to Andrew. I was like, all the new rules and stuff that Sisters of Battle have, there's a crazy strong Sisters list to be made. I don't think Andrew had it last week. I don't think he had it the week before, but maybe third time's lucky. He will have a strong Sisters list tomorrow. And also tomorrow is going to be, if we can win tomorrow, then we've got a 15-game win streak going on in the channel right now. So, and remember, you guys can also bet tomorrow. So if you type !points, I think in the chat at the moment, you can also type !commands, so you can see the chat commands and the points. Hopefully, the chatbot was playing up a little bit last week, and I am kind of new to getting the chatbot working, but watch this, it's not going to work now. Okay, no, it is going to work. Cool. It just takes a minute for it to decide that it's going to speak. So yeah, you'll be able to hopefully watch Andrew's third version of the Sisters list. I'm going to share that up after the stream. I think he sent it to me before the stream, but yeah, I do think the Sisters Codex has like a lot of strength in it. I did tell him to try and cut down on the number of characters that he has, and I've also told him a lot of times to try and make sure he keeps CP against me, because he's going to need them to interrupt. I think Eliminators are a better pick than Vindicator now. They will be much more consistent and with better utility. I think I agree with that, Steel Rain. The one advantage, I suppose, of having the Vindicator, right, is because he can pay 2 CP at the beginning of the battle and switch it out, right, for another assassin. That is the bonus of having the assassins in lists, is they can be switched out by the stratagem. So yeah, this seems like a pretty solid list, actually. I like the fact that we've kept the Sanguinary Guard, decent sized Death Company. We've got a few Dreadnoughts for the middle. I mean, we don't have any Melta support, but let's do some scoring and see. So troop wise, we have 1 Infiltrator and 2 Intercessors. So I think we're going to go with an 8 there. Maybe it's an 8-5. You know what? If it's an 8-5, then Benjamin's one should have had a 9 for his troop choices. I think I said 3 full boss units was a 9, so yeah, I think Benjamin's actually should have been a 9 there. I think this is an 8. Anti-Horde infantry effectiveness. We've got our 2 Redemptors and we've got our Contemptor. So we got the Whirlwind as well. We've got a bunch of Assault Bolters from the Sanguinary Guard. I mean, we've got Auto Bolters from the Infiltrators. So I actually think we deal with Hordes pretty well with this list. Maybe even we deal with Hordes with like a 9-5. I suppose it depends on the armor save that the enemies are going to have, because the one disadvantage with the Twin Volkite covering, right, is it's 0 AP. So good number of shots, but the 0 AP can make saving against it pretty easily. If you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, then my score of 42 is perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it should have been a 42.5. Being able to switch the Vindicator to Calidus is certainly a match that would be stronger than Eliminators, though. Yeah, and also, I mean, like, I do think that assassins bring a certain amount of flexibility to someone's list as well. Blood Angels Commander Andrew's feeling confident in the plastic crack kit. Andrew's been feeling confident, Mark, for the last 10 weeks or something, and he's lost every week. So he always messages me as well, right? He messages me like, "Are you ready for the new Sisters?" I'm like, "Yeah, Andrew, I'm ready. You know, like, bring it." Like, yeah, I'm ready. You know. So that was pretty much his message last week or the week that he got the new Sisters Codex. He's like, "Are you ready for the new Sisters?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And I even said to him during the game last week, like, "You better win with all these crazy sister things." So yeah, I mean, I was learning some of the new sister stuff as well. And how do I actually select Gift of Foresight and Battle Scribe? It doesn't seem to list it. You need to make sure that you've selected Blood Angels as your chapter at the very top, Benjamin. Otherwise, it might not show it. The Calixtus is seriously amazing, better than the Inquisitors. Yeah, I mean, the Calixtus is not bad. But I think some of the Inquisitors are pretty useful as well. So, yeah, okay. And so monster vehicle deal with, like, what we talked about having a 13 3 damage weapons. We don't have any Meltaguns in this list, right? But, you know, we do have 2 Macroplasma Incinerators. They are very useful. They are a little bit swingy. And then we have the Thunderhammers, we have the Sanguinary Guard. So I'm probably leaning towards an 8-5. I think lack of Melta means that you're not quite up there in terms of anti-armor like the other lists. Mobility-wise, the Dreadnoughts don't really need to be super mobile. You've got some other units that aren't all that mobile either, so I think it's like a 7, but again, I don't think it's a problem. You know, as long as you keep your Sanguinary Guard alive, your Death Company alive, and you can use their mobility near the end of the game, and I guess your one squad of Infiltrators with guerrilla tactics, you probably don't have too many problems with mobility. And then you've got the ability to fight last. You don't have any psychic here, so maybe like a point off for that. 13 3 damage weapons, I think it was, so maybe a little bit. Was it right? 13, 4, 7. I actually think it's less 3 damage weapons, right? 4, 7. It's like 9 3 damage weapons. So maybe a couple of points off that. So maybe like specialization comes in at like a 7.5. So I think, like I said, if you can put in a list that scores 40, I think you're in a good shape. I think that makes sense, what you've said. I kind of feel that you either go Tech Marine or Sanguinary Priest, but you don't do both now. I don't even know if you do both before they made the Sanguinary Priest plus 35 points. Or plus 20 points, rather. Like, I think that like you either choose your healing and reviving infantry, or you're obviously not reviving dreadnoughts, or you're healing dreadnoughts and boosting them. I'm not sure if both is the way to go. I think those choices are mutually exclusive. I mean, I could be wrong. And Reziel's saying he runs both, so maybe I'm wrong. But I guess if you're doing that, then you give up potentially any sort of psychic power, and sometimes being able to deny psychic tests or something like that can be very important, and or bring great utility. So, I mean, that's my opinion. Support Librarian with Fortress would be awesome in this list. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point. You've got those 3 dreadnoughts. None of them have... Oh, well, the Contemptor has an invulnerable save, but you've got Intercessors as well. You talk about having this strong presence in the middle. Psychic Fortress is going to be very good. It's a tough call. I mean, maybe you can run them. And maybe, like, what did I put there? 7.5? Yeah, so maybe it's an 8. I just feel like my gut is telling me that you run one or the other, you don't do both. Do what I did and use Might of Heroes incorrectly. Okay, when Might of Heroes first got released, Thomas, I used it incorrectly as well. I thought it would buff the whole squad rather than a single model. So Reziel switched to double patrol so he could fit a Tech Marine. Yeah, again, I come back to the fact that you have a Whirlwind, and for me, in most games, my Whirlwind sits in the backfield and tries to hold an objective. I guess Sister of Battle last week, I really fucked up my Whirlwind placement. That will not happen tomorrow night, but yeah, it's a big question mark, isn't it? Like, do you need the 3 troop choices? What did you say you're starting with? Like 8 CP? Could you start with 6? But yeah, I think there's a few. Yeah, my gut just tells me like you'd be stronger if you either went Tech Marine and Psyker or Psyker and Priest. Like, I don't think that running both of them is the right call. And I think it's yeah, I think that's just how I feel about it. How do you feel about killing Morven Fail Commander? You mean Morgan Val? We killed her last week, Reziel. Like, she didn't even... the Chapter Master I run with a Thunderhammer is great against her, right? Because a Thunderhammer is 3 damage, so when it rounds down... Sorry, when the damage is halved and it rounds up, Thunderhammers still do flat 2 damage against her. She only has 8 wounds, right? So, I think my Chapter Master on the charge did 6 wounds to her. So she only had 2 wounds left after the Chapter Master had charged her. And I also had a 5-man Sanguinary Guard in combat with her. So I actually split the attacks between her and the squad, and it wasn't bad at all. Morgan Val, I think she's going to be scary if she charges you, but I mean, here's the great thing with the Blood Angels. Does the Jump Pack Librarian outclass the Terminator after the Tomb of Malkador change. I think he probably still does H-Ward. The mobility the jump pack gives you is very, very good. I ran my Terminator Librarian last week over my jump pack one. I guess the Terminator Librarian doesn't have the jump pack, but he has the Combi Melta. And, having that extra 3 damage, potentially 8 damage melting gun over the mobility. Bear in mind, Psychers can advance and cast psychic powers, so there is, they can still be reasonably mobile and still be useful in psychic. It's a tough question. It's a question I'm not ready to answer yet, I would guess. Like, I need a few more games and see how I feel. But I did actually buy what's his face? Inquisitor Cotiez, who kind of is basically you can give the Librarian. Yeah, but I mean they're the same points, right? 115 points to the Terminator with the Combi Melta against 115 points with the regular one with the jump pack, So they're both 115 points, and that's the points that I have free in my list. So I couldn't give the firstborn with the jump pack the Melta or whatever. But I did buy Inquisitor Cotiez, and I'm interested to try him actually, because he basically wears Terminator armor, right? He's got a 2+ and he's got a 5+, 5+ invulnerable, but he moves 6. And there's only 1 more inch, but I mean, I guess it is 1 more inch. So it's like he's wearing Terminator armor, but he doesn't have the movement penalty. And Cotiez has some pretty interesting things as well. So, and also you can use him to kind of farm command points from the enemy as well. So, not that I believe we need that many command points, but if you can farm them every turn as well, potentially, that can be pretty useful too. And his weapon is also flat 3 damage. And against Chaos and Demons, he gets to reroll all hits and wounds. So, and I play Chaos obviously quite a bit with the Death Guard, and I think the Death Guard are pretty darn strong. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, Thomas. So yeah, it's a good question. So okay, thanks for sending in the list, Maverick. I think 40 seems fair. I mean, what I'd say is go play that list and feel like, and come back to me and tell me, yeah, like I felt like having the priest and the tech marine was like too many points spent in trying to be healing, or I totally agree that I don't think you can run both of them. It's a tough one. I like my characters to be survivable, and the jump pack Librarian isn't survivable. The Terminator armor gives you 1 extra on your save, gives you that invulnerable save, gives you 1 extra wound. The other thing to say is if you take Perils, which apparently I rolled Perils last week for D3 damage, it leaves your Librarian on 1 hit point, which is really scary, and I think that's why I dropped him, because I was like, holy shit, if I take a Perils here I can just lose my character, and that's really bad. But yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know the right answer. I think both are good. And I guess leave it at that, and maybe you need to try them like I'm trying them and trying to decide. It is sad. Like, I guess when you could take Tomb of Malkador and you could take wings on him, that the one in Terminator armor was brilliant. I loved him with wings. But I guess we just don't have that right now. Alright, and then finally, what are your thoughts on 3 attack bikes with multi-meltas v4 eradicators with normal melt rifles? When advancing, the eradicators, their damage output is exactly the same. Is it exactly the same when they advance? So when they advance, they would hit on 4s. So you would have 6 shots hitting on 3s against 8 shots hitting on 4s. So your 8 shots. So yeah, you're right. So you get the exact same number of hits. It's a good question, actually. Same. I mean, I guess the thing about the attack bikes is you're going to get 12 bolter shots as well, right? And then the attack bikes can move further, they can fall back and shoot, and I think the fall back and shoot is actually pretty good. No, eradicators can still shoot twice if they advance, as long as they shoot the same target. The rule for eradicators is that they just have to total obliteration or total annihilation, whatever it is. I think it's total obliteration. It's just that they have to shoot the same target, right? I don't believe there's anything negative to advancing, but we can check. Look, I got the codex right here. Eradicators. What does it say? Let me move this camera a little bit. In the shooting phase, each time this unit is selected to shoot. Oh, if it is not advanced this turn, it can unleash total obliteration. You are 100% correct. Glad that you are here, keeping us right. Koki Vinny? Well, okay. But I mean, you could still move the 5 eradicators, and you could not worry about that. I actually did not realize that total obliteration. I'm sure I've played against someone that shot them in total obliteration after they advanced. I guess he missed that as well. Okay. But if you moved and shoot, you still get the same number of shots. So your attack bikes are going to get 12 Stormbolter shots, which I guess isn't much. But I mean, it can be useful. The one thing that's nice though is attack bikes can. Was that ability modified in FAQ? I don't know. But the attack bikes can fall back and shoot for 1 CP. Which I think is pretty useful. Fall back and shoot on a unit that really wants to be shooting is generally pretty useful. I've had my eradicators tied up a couple of times, and it's really sad when they're just, they're stood there with their multi-guns not able to shoot. So I've also forgotten to use fall back and shoot on the bikes as well, so it goes both ways, but the bikes are still pretty good. Alright, so Sonoran says, Knights of Chalice fluff list, would like your input. The idea is to have a Blade Guard together with a Blade Guard Lieutenant and a Captain advance up the field where cover or line of sight save them some firepower. Apothecary following to provide more durability to this unit. Once it gets into combat, it is wound and hits and re-rolls, as well as some other characters in it. The Assault Intercessors will advance up the flank, with a Chaplain given Feel No Pain and supporting them. Suppressors able to prevent Overwatch against key units in turn 2 or 3. Outriders to harass. I don't like Outriders. We talked about this a few weeks ago. They feel really lackluster for their points cost. Infiltrators on each flank, on the back, holding objectives and deep strike screening. Aggressors supporting this if I expect enemy deep strike. Otherwise, aggressors will advance and support middle. Eradicators set up with rifles to be able to advance and still support up front. Well, based on what we just read, Eradicators when they're advancing aren't as good. And 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts to provide a good amount of fire support. And this starts with 9 CP and it is a battalion. Don't forget to Auspex Scan. Yeah, I mean, Auspex Scan is... I mean, I guess if the enemy arrives within 12 inches of your Eradicators, then Auspex Scan is going to be amazing. But, I mean, are they really going to do that? Outriders give me profound sadness. Yeah, I mean, I have 6 Outriders, and I had them half painted. Like, I was doing that Death Company color scheme on them. Like, I know it needs quite a lot of work still on this Death Company color scheme, but like, I thought it was going to be quite cool. And then it was just like, I've just put them to the side and just been like, yeah, I'm not painting them because I just don't. They're just not good. Well, maybe they're good for White Scars or something. They're not so good for Blood Angels right now. Alright, so what have we got? We've got Primaris Lieutenant with the Shield Eternal, so that that's the Primaris Lieutenant from Indomitus, which I actually really like. We have the Primaris Chaplain, and he's the Master of Sanctity. I like the Primaris Chaplain on the bike a lot. He's only 30 points more. He gets a ton more movement, and he gets additional wounds and toughness. He's a real bugger to kill. I think he's on 7 wounds, toughness 5, so I feel like that's going to be better just because of the mobility. We then have a Primaris Chapter Master who's Artisan of War, gifted Foresight, Adamantium Mantle, Angel's Artifice. So he's the Master Crafted Power Sword and Relic Shield. Okay, so this is also the Indomitus Captain. And these are strong picks, but they're all really slow. So we just need to keep that in mind. Most people are running fast characters. 6 inches on the movement on the characters is going to be really limiting for your list. in my opinion. You're gonna get shot when with the jump packs. You can pretty much make turn 2 guaranteed turn 3 charges. When you're on foot, I don't know when you're getting into combat, but it's going to be a lot slower, and I don't like it. We have one squad of 10 assault intercessors, and we have 2 squads of infiltrators. You said in your description that you were going to screen the whole backfield with the infiltrators, and if you're going to screen your whole backfield with the infiltrators, then I feel like your Helix gauntlets are dead points, right? You're not going to need Helix gauntlets if you're screening everywhere with them. So just drop the 20 points, and maybe for a start, think about maybe getting we could have a chapter master with a jump pack, maybe. Or we could have that Primaris chaplain on the bike, almost. We just need to find a few other points. We have an aggressor squad with the bolt storms and the frag storms. And you know what? I've got all my aggressors built this way, but I honestly think at the moment flame storms are stronger. So unfortunately, at last edition, bolters were great, but now they're kind of crap. So if you want to run bolter aggressors, I think they're okay. Maybe a 7 out of 10. I think the flame storms are maybe an 8 out of 10, but aggressors are just a bit weaker than they maybe were. Hey, Marcel. We then have 5 Blade Guard veterans, and we've talked about this a few times today, in that 5 Blade Guard veterans might be too many. It's 15 wounds on storm shields. 4 is probably going to be enough. If the plan is to move them into the middle of the board, sit them there with a apothecary that can heal them, then 5 is probably overkill. You probably can get some value out putting those points elsewhere. Then we have 2 Redemptors, Rocket Pods, Plasmas, Onslaughts. Yeah, I mean this is a perfect way to armor Redemptors, so no problem with that. Outriders, we compared them to a squad of Vanguard veterans, and 5 Vanguard veterans with Lightning Claws and Storm Shields is 150 points now, exact same cost. And the Vanguard veterans are going to survive pretty much identically. They're also going to be able to get cover. They're also going to be able to deep strike. They're also going to do more damage with Lightning Claws, a lot more damage. So Outriders to me are a strange one. I generally can't recommend running Outriders. Watch the video I did a couple of weeks ago on Outriders. Just Google Outriders Blood Angels or something. Again, it seems like now I've made enough videos that most of my videos, Blood Angels, Outriders, most of my videos just generally come up on YouTube at the very top. Maybe just do Blood Angels Commander, or maybe on Google, Blood Angels Commander Outriders. Yeah, look, here it is, very very first video. So just watch my video on Outriders and decide yourself. Suppressors are good against infantry based lists. I feel like if you're not running the infantry, if you're not fighting infantry based lists, then the Whirlwind is going to be better. But I actually don't hate suppressors. I think they're going to be a weird one. We're going to do another tier list this week, I think, with Mark and Tony, and we're going to talk about fast attack this week in the tier list. So suppressors are going to be in there. I mean, we've actually already filmed the video. I don't remember exactly where we put suppressors, but I think they were a unit that we felt like they might get a bit more value in the near future. But right now, the Whirlwind is better. And then heavy support, we're looking at Eradicators. And it's 4 of them with just the Melta rifles. Which is okay. I guess, note, you can't advance and shoot twice with the Melta rifles. So they are kind of slower. And at that point, would you be better with the 3 attack bikes? It's a good question. So the weakness I see in... Oh, let's look at 3 damage weapons. We've got 4 from the Eradicators. I guess 8 when we include the Dreadnoughts. And then... that's it. Is that it? Yeah. So 8 3 damage weapons. Outriders are weak. Honestly, I think they're weak. No Whirlwind. No Psychic. And very, very slow characters. But I mean, this whole list is actually very slow. Like, we don't have a single jump pack unit in this list, I don't think. Not that I can see. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I guess the suppressors are your one jump pack unit, but they're not really. Suppressors are arguably more valuable than bolt inceptors. Are they? Bolt inceptors are going to be in Gravis armor, so they're more survivable. They're going to get 18 shots against the 9 shots. I guess when you think about it like that, yeah, they get half as many shots. But here's the thing, I suppose, with the suppressors, right? Their weapons are heavy, so the second you arrive from deep strike or you move, you're gonna be hitting on 4s. Yeah, so you're gonna hit less with the suppressors. You're gonna have the same AP. I guess you've got a couple extra points of strength there, but I mean, like, yeah, that's a tough one. Your Gravis. Your Gravis armor is going to make you more survivable on the Inceptors, and I guess your Inceptors could charge and stuff after they've shot and stuff. So yeah, it's I don't think they're pants, and I think that maybe like if Tau gets some buffs and some of the other enemies get some buffs, where Overwatch could be really strong on infantry again, then I think suppressors might have a place. But like, stick them in a high building but don't move them. Yeah, I mean you could do that. It's pretty limiting though to say don't move a unit, and like if you stick them on a high building and you don't move them, then you're basically going to deploy them in the open in turn 1 and let the enemy shoot them. It's a tricky call, I think, with suppressors. I think, well, I mean, I was painting the Bolter Inceptors last night. I think I'm going to run the Bolter Inceptors. You know, and I think I'm going to start them off the board, so when they arrive, you get that maximum amount of damage from potentially Descent of the Angels. And but yeah, I mean, suppressors probably should have been arrived in a 6-man unit. I'll agree with that. I don't, and like I said, I think there will be situations where suppressors are good, but right now I'm not feeling it as much as maybe other people are. So troops then, 2. OBSEC, I guess, is going to be 8.5. Anti-Horde infantry, we have the 2 Redemptors, we have a Suppressor squad, we have some Outriders, we have Bolt Storms. So, I mean, I guess our anti-Horde / infantry is actually really good in this list. Our anti-monster and vehicles is not so good. We've got the 2 on plasma incinerators here, but they are swingy, and we know that. You guys have seen me roll for plasmas. You know, you've seen me roll 1s multiple times the number of shots that the macro plasmas get. So, and we also have a lack of 3 damage weapons. We do have a squad of eradicators, so I think it's maybe like an 8. The mobility of this list is probably one of the worst lists we've seen. We only have the Outriders and the Suppressors that are mobile. Everything else is not. So I'm thinking it's like a 4.5, I'd say. Like it's generally really low. Aggressor's not mobile. Bladeguard not mobile. None of the characters are mobile. Maybe even with the characters mobile, this could have been a 4. Oh, have I got these 2 round the wrong way? No. Yeah, Paul C was the last list that we looked at. That was actually submitted by Maverick, I believe. On YouTube, his name was something like Maverick. And then specialization. So we have a lack of 3 damage weapons. We have no Psyker. We don't have a Whirlwind. We have a bit of lack of mobility there as well. I mean, we do have reroll 1s and we do have reroll for hits and wounds, but I think specialization maybe comes in as a 6. I don't like how slow this list looks, and also I feel like as much as nice it is to reroll 1s to hit and 1s to wound, there are more important things than that. You know, like I don't bring a lieutenant. I don't think many of the lists that we've seen that score really high points, like Adam's list, Benjamin's list, Steel Rain's list. These lists don't bring lieutenants. I think if you really want reroll ones to wound, then you need to use a Wisdom of the Ancient on a Dreadnought right now. Suppressors were a great idea. They just didn't really make them the most of them. Their design, yeah, they kind of. I feel like the suppressors were the unit that time forgot, right? Like, you can't even buy them. There's not even a multi-part kit. I mean, in some ways, I guess Outriders have the same problem. Nothing as bad as Reavers. Yeah, okay. You win with a low blow with the Reavers being bad. What's funny is the stratagems for the Reavers have those like terror grenades or something, but they're like 2 CP. It's ridiculously overcosted. There's a lot of individual elements in this list, but it doesn't seem to play into Blood Angel's strength, and neither does any of the synergies we can bring to the table. Yeah, I think that's probably what we're thinking. He did say it was a fluffy Knights of the Chalice list. So if you're happy with a fluffy list scoring 36, then maybe, but like, I generally think that Blood Angel's list should be faster than this, like quite a bit faster. It's fine to have some slow-moving units, like I run Centurions, which are the slowest damn units in the game. It feels like when they're trundling across the battlefield at 5 inches. But we run enough other stuff that can be pretty mobile that it makes up for it. So thanks for tuning in today, Highland. Appreciate that. You guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, if you want to hit that like button, it really does help out. It's very much appreciated. We're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes if there's no other questions that anyone wants to ask or mention. And yeah, we're going to be playing Sisters of Battle tomorrow night. It's going to be a new list from Andrew. Let me see if I have it. Because I pinged him right before I came on stream. I don't know if he's answered me about what his list for tomorrow is. We could look at it really quickly if I've got it. Oh, he just messaged me saying he needs to proxy some. Yeah, I guess he's proxying some of the Celestiants again. But all right, cool. Yeah, I've got his list for tomorrow. So let's have a quick look at the Sisters list for tomorrow, and then we'll be kicking off about 7:30 as normal. Did you make a giveaway today? I haven't done a giveaway since we did that bike a few weeks ago. I was actually thinking about doing another giveaway at some point, but I think you guys know that I bought a new camera and it is good, but like it needs a new microphone. It needs you can't film when it's plugged into the mains unless you spend like $150 on it. So I need to buy some other. It's so stupid that the camera's got a USB port on it, but it doesn't charge from the USB port. It's the same as the other camera I had before. I don't know why they do this. So you have to buy some stupid, expensive extra thing to make it charge while it's plugged in. Like that, it's like for me, it's like it should just include that, but it doesn't. Thanks for watching, Basically. Good luck and see you tomorrow. Appreciate that. Andrew's cheating with proxies. I mean, the new Sisters models just came out, so we're giving him a little. Break. Yeah, so he wants to punish the CP with the Calidus Assassin, which will be interesting. I guess like the question will be how much CP we spend early in the game. So we'll need to be smart around the CP. How many CP is he starting with? Surely he's not starting with 12. Let's see. So he's got Morgan Val and a Battle Sister squad. This is a patrol detachment. Yeah, okay, so first detachment is a patrol detachment. He has 2 Crusaders with power swords. I actually don't even know what these are. Sisters of Battle Crusaders? Are these new, or have these been around for a while and he's just never run them? What do they look like? Are these them? Oh right, they're basically Inquisition, are they? They're cheap crap. Used to be an Inquisition warbands. Yeah, so they are sisters because they've got acts of faith. What are they? Just 1 wound, toughness 3, 4+ save. And he's got them with power swords. Okay. So 2 little squads, I guess 2 little squads of Crusaders probably to hold objectives, I guess. Maybe we can just take them out with a whirlwind if we need to. So Dominion squads with those Stormbolters. So he's trying the same bolter shenanigans he had last week where he can get like up to 6 mortal wounds out of his bolters. Which is the chapter champion, Camille. Yes, that's a good point. I don't know when we'll do that chapter champion giveaway, but I'd completely forgotten about that. I'd said that. I will 100% post it in the Discord members room when we're going to do it. So I guess just keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll sort it out like in the next week or two. We're close to 6,000 subscribers, so maybe that'd be a cool time to do it. They're easily killed, great target for assault bolters. Well, I'm glad that I'm bringing the assault bolters. Alright, so we'll use assault bolters to kill these. I mean, all the sisters are a good target for assault bolters, I would expect. So he's going to use them for engage or some sort of secondary. Makes sense. And they're only 1 power level, so you can stack them in with other things. So he's going to try the same bolter shenanigans. And that bolter shenanigans stuff was okay, but I guess because these squads are just 4 or 5 guys now, be able to clear them out pretty quickly. I think he's got the same. I think he's got 1 more squad of multi-meltas. I mean, he always has the retributors with the double sheriffs and the multi-meltas. I got super unlucky against the multi-melta squad last week. I don't know if you saw that. I had 7 5+ saves to make, and we failed all of them. I don't even know what the odds of that is, but can I work that out? 7 times 0.333. So I should have passed 2 1/3 saves, and I failed all of them. So my Dreadnought would have probably survived. Then he's got 2 rhinos in this detachment, I guess. So probably these Stormbolter guys and or the Retributors will all be inside the rhinos. We then have Canoness. We have the Stern and his bodyguard. These 2 characters were pretty strong, actually. Your bolt guns are going to get a workout. Well, good, because it's the first time we're trying them, right? I was actually thinking I might have them arrive from Deep Strike, perform an action and shoot using the like unrelented firepower stratagem or whatever it is, the one that lets you shoot and still perform an action. So he's then got a bunch more of the Celestian Sacrosands, and he's still got them as 10-man squads, right? 9 + 1. I literally told him, like, why are you running these as 10-man squads? Why are you not running them as 8s? What are 10 gonna not kill the 8 will? It was Reziel or Steel Rain or someone said it about the Repentia. It was like, what are 6 Repentia not going to kill the 8 will kill? And I think it's the same with these guys. Like, why are you running these as 10-man squads? They're kind of like the Sangre Guard. They're wasted as a 10-man squad. These are a melee threat. These are no joke, Mark. I don't know if you saw these things, but they, with their storm shields, I guess it's more the fact that their damage output is just really good. He's got them as Bloody Rose, so they're like strength 5 -2 2 damage. And each squad gets like 41 attacks, but I think it's overkill. I think they just need to be squads of 8. I don't run Null Zone at the moment, Reziel, so we just have to kill them off with like a lot of firepower. They only have 1 wound, so they do die. But yeah, I think squads of 10 is the wrong call here. I wouldn't run these guys as squads of 10. He's got another Crusader here. Then he's got 8 Repentia, and then he's got another Rhino. So I'm guessing on this side it'll be the Rhino, the Repentia probably, and the Rhino. The thing is, the weakness of these guys is their speed, right? So you could have literally dropped 2 out of each squad, they're about 14 points a model. That would have given him 80 odd points, and he could have had another Rhino, and he could have put 8 of them into a Rhino, or you could have run like a 10, a 6, and a 6, and have 10 inside a Rhino. We'll just kite them and kill them again. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the Sisters list that I would build. I think this is stronger than what he had last week, but I still don't think it's the strongest. I think there is like I said, I think there's a really, really strong Sisters list to be built now in 9th edition, or with their new codex. Yeah, I think 10 Sacrosancts will get 41 attacks, hitting on 3s. We just do a little bit of math, right? So, yeah, they get 41 attacks, hitting on 3s, so they basically get 27 hits. They're going to wound Marines on 3s, so you're going to get 18 wounds. They're -2, so I guess if you're saving them on regular Marines, you're only saving on 5s. So, so you're basically going to lose 12 Marines from one squad of 10 of them charging you, because they're 2 damage each weapon. So yeah, I mean, but that was my thing. So like, if you now divided this by 10, because there's 10 models in the unit, and timesed it by 8, 8 of them is going to kill 9.6 Marines. So is the Dogmata in the list? No, I think he dropped it because I told him last week he had too many characters. I said to him 5 characters is the wrong. His list last week had 6 characters. So I said to him, like, you need to pick. My opinion is you shouldn't run more than 4 characters. It just makes picking Assassinate like a really easy pick for the enemy. And like, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got 5 characters this week. So I'll pick Assassinate again, and I'll kill 5 of his characters. Or even if you kill 4 of them in the Warlord now, it's 13 victory points. I think it's the wrong call to run more than 4 characters. Yeah, so I don't think these Celestian Sacrosancts need to run in squads of 10. I really don't see. Yeah, I mean, so he has he's Morgan Val. He has these bolters, and he has the multi-melters. So the multi-melters are, if they arrive from a Rhino or from Deep Strike, there's nothing you can do. You just have to suck it up and take all the multi-melters and hope that you survive. So there's no real counterplay against those. But I think we can beat this list as well. I don't think this is. I don't know. I guess he doesn't want to listen to me. I don't know why you would continue to run these guys in 10s, and I don't know about running 5 characters. What do you guys think about 5 characters? Do you think it's the wrong call? In general? I mean, like, would you run a Blood Angels list with 5 characters? Because I tried it one time and it didn't go well. The enemy picked Assassinate, and it's the one game I've lost in the last 6 months or something. I think it's actually the only game of 40k that I've lost this year was the game that I picked 5 characters. Yeah, okay. So Mark thinks 4 characters absolute tops. Cool. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the game. We'll be live against that Sisters list tomorrow night. More characters means more snipers, says Reziel. Yeah, maybe more snipers. So we'll be live against the Sisters tomorrow night. So please, if you want to check that game out, feel free to tune in. And yeah, thanks for all the feedback on the video we made this weekend with Mark and Tony on the tier lists. People seem to love it, so hopefully we'll be able to do some more. So Mark, thank you so much for that as well. And hope you have the rest of the weekend. I hope all you fathers had a great Father's Day. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll talk to you all soon. I want to make one last point. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday next week are going to be difficult for me. Thursday night, I think I've already arranged to be filming the next tier list video with Mark and Tony. So I'm going to have no live stream on Thursday night because we're basically filming. So that's happening, and then I'm out of town over Saturday. So I might not have. Well, I'm definitely not going to have a stream on Saturday night. And Sunday stream might start later, or Sunday stream might not happen at all. I don't fully know how long I'm going to be out of town on Saturday and when I'm going to get back. It's going to be traffic dependent and stuff, and sometimes with traffic, you never know. So, so I guess just be aware that, like, I will put up a community post to this nature, and I am still hopeful of having some other videos, because I worked on some other videos last week, so there should still be content coming out. It's just not going to be at the normal times, and the two hobby hangouts, Thursday and Saturday, are going to be cancelled. So I guess keep an eye on the channel. There will be other videos coming out, but they're just not going to be on the normal time, Thursday and Saturday this week. And I will try and keep Sunday, and if it has to change, I'll let people know as well. So, all right, cool. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully see you all tomorrow night. And I guess we'll try and beat the sisters again, and we'll tell them again that why you running squads of 10 of those sacrosancts. I guess we'll see. All right, have a good day, guys. By the blood are we made strong. Peace.